Hello again, everyone. This is Larry Gordon with Malky Gordon. The podcast is father-daughter, and I don't have to explain the whole concept. If you don't understand it, you can refer back to one of the previous.
Just DM me on Instagram. I'll explain the whole.
Yeah,
the
just
whole
get
idea.
in touch with Malky.
Yeah.
She's online all the time.
This is true.
But this is completely unscripted and unprepared conversation between a father and a daughter. It runs 30 minutes, so it's not a lot of time. It's not 1 minute, but it's 30 minutes. So it's, like I said, it's not a big commitment of time, and it's a slice of life, and we discuss a variety of topics extemporaneously. We just, right now sitting here in the offices of Meaningful Minute in Cedarhurst, New York, overlooking beautiful blue sky and all the
Downtown Cedarhurst.
and all the air conditioning ducts of all the stores across the street.
Very scenic.
It looks like everybody's air conditioning is working properly from what I can tell. It's a warm day in November. Unusual, but still very welcome.
But 2020 has been a very unusual year so far.
Yes, and it's not over yet.
Not over yet.
It's not over yet. They say, I saw a WhatsApp group that said, a WhatsApp sign that said, Biden 2020, Trump 2021. When 2021 arrives, he might be president again. So we don't know what the story is. My idea was to discuss our tastes in music as a way of providing our viewers and listeners with a little bit of additional insight into our tastes over the years and how they evolved. So, we could talk about modern music today.
Yeah.
I listen to music in my car.
Here's the thing with music, and it's always been a fascination of mine because I grew up as your daughter.
Yeah,
and
but I only use them. Today. Let me just. I don't
Sure.
mean to interject. I only listen to music in the car. I have no patience to listen to music at home. There's too much other stuff going on.
Okay, so for me, growing up in your going
House.
places with you in the car,
Right.
we always listened to music.
Correct.
It's always been such a pet peeve of mine when I go into somebody's car and they're listening to
NPR.
AM radio. And I think to
radio?
myself, this is the time. This is the time when you're in a car, when you're like supposed to be singing at the top of your lungs.
That's right.
What are you listening to Rush Limbaugh? This is not the time.
It's almost like being in the shower.
In the shower.
In the
you
shower,
need to be singing in the shower.
there's great acoustics.
Usually off key.
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. No, it sounds great.
There's great acoustics very often in the shower, and sometimes there's even like a choir, a backup group singing with you.
Yes.
At least you could imagine. You could do both. It's like even though it's wet in there and soapy, still you could also sing. You could sing the you could sing what do they call that? The main person singing, the soloist.
The soloist.
You sing solo, and you could also sing backup.
Of course.
Without multiple tracks.
Exactly.
You just sing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see. What do I like listening into a car? You get into the car.
Get into the
Before
car.
you get into the car, you
Yeah.
have no idea what you're going to listen to. But
Here's the thing today. There's Apple Music, there's Spotify, there are playlists. I know this is not your generation. I know that your
right.
generation doesn't even know how to sign on to like
I know.
Instagram.
I
for the most part.
have Apple Music.
Okay, so you have Apple Music.
I don't
So
even know.
there's no
I don't
reason.
know. And I download a lot of albums that I like. But I don't know. Are they charging me?
I don't.
Are they charging me? Shut your ringer. Oh, my ringer. I'm sorry. Are they charging me?
We're just taking a break. My father has to shut his ringer
I'm
off.
not taking a break. Just go ahead.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna keep going.
They're charging me. Are they charging me per
Well,
album?
no. You're paying a monthly
fee?
subscription
It's
to
like
Apple
$10.
Music,
It's like $10.
so you can just think of it as free.
So the albums are free.
Here's the thing. I seldom.
That's good. I like that.
I seldom listen to an entire album that I love. It's like buying a whole line of cosmetics from one brand. Like, I don't want to commit to an entire album because what if I'm disappointed?
Well,
What if I expect perfection and greatness from a musician and I'm sitting there listening to a song and I'm like, this is just not good.
All right, let me tell you something about that, which I believe is a psychological thing in terms of music. Jewish music and secular music. Okay, the appeal is very, very similar. I think that the very often when you listen to an album, whether it's Avram Fried or Ishai Ribo or Taylor Swift or Bruce Springsteen, you'll hear it for the first time, and the first time I'll hear it and I'll say, how they put those, who told them to put those 10 songs on the album. Each one is worse than the one before. And then you play it again and, that's not so bad. You hear
Right.
something. You hear
Right.
something that appeals to you.
Right.
And before you know it, after, not a lot, after 3 or 4 plays of various songs on the album, you say, those 3 or 4 songs are really great, but how they get the other garbagey 7 songs on the album?
Absolutely.
And then you realize that, they're pretty good too. And before you know it, you have a great album that appeals to you on a different level.
I hear what you're saying. I do think there's a huge difference in taste level and I know I might get flack for this, and I'm sorry in advance, guys, but like I was always the rebel that listened to secular music like all my life. I grew up. I was a baby.
I don't think you had to be rebellious in our house to listen to secular music.
Oh, are you serious?
Why?
My younger siblings would freak out. Jochen would freak out when I would.
Maybe we'll have to get him down here to
my
testify.
music on my CD man.
Well, he went to yeshiva. It's different, but we'll have to get him down here to testify in his own defense.
Oh, he'll wholeheartedly agree. And in fact, he sent me a song from a very well-known singer.
He likes
music.
he likes secular music
No,
too.
he doesn't. What secular music does he?
Some he does. Josh
Who?
Groban.
Josh Groban isn't really secular.
Oh, Josh Groban, he's still alive?
He's
No,
like
I'm just
30.
kidding. I know.
Baruch Hashem, he's still alive.
It's dangerous out there.
Okay. Listen, Yochanan sent me a song from a very well-known singer, and he's like, you have to listen to this. It's a great song. Like you said before, you're listening to a song, you're just like waiting for it to like start getting good. And I was just like, when's it getting good?
Okay.
So I sort of just shut it off in the middle. And I think that Yochanan might not have the same discerning taste as I do, because I don't think that Jewish music is as good across the board than secular music.
Oh, so
There, I said it.
Also, if you went to yeshiva, whether it's a girls' school or a boys' school, in New York anyway, you were indoctrinated with the concept that's unique here in New York. It's called Goyish music.
Goyish music.
What is Goyish?
Goyish music is good music. Goyish music, good music.
Goyish music
And I have to tell you,
has to be sung by a guy, or can be sung?
I love being a from Jew. I love
He's shaking his head over there.
I love being a from Jew.
Yeah.
But I also grew up in your house, and way back when, before you moved to the 5 towns and,
Yes.
wore a hat, you listened to Simon and Garfunkel and Bruce Springsteen and
Right.
Madonna. And these moments in my
I
life,
still
I
do.
remember the moments in my life are always going to be earmarked by the songs that I remember you listening to at certain points of my life. I remember you putting on records in the living room on East 27th Street and listening to the whole records of Bruce Springsteen, dancing in the living room with Ima. I remember dancing.
Well, let me tell you this. This is for older people. But I have a brother, Benjamin,
Yes.
who's 7 years older
Yes.
than me. So when I was 10 years old, he was 17. And he belonged to these record clubs, Columbia Record Club.
Sure, I could totally
and
see
he used to
that.
get these boxes of brand new albums
Yeah.
in the mail. And he wasn't home during the day. He was in school, whatever it was. And I would come home first. And I would open the boxes. And my father got this large stereo player the size of this desk. If you deposited, in those days, if you deposited $10,000 in a time account in the bank, they gave you as a gift a stereo player.
Oh, wow.
Or a toaster oven, or a small car.
A small car or a
not
toaster
really.
oven?
Things like that,
Small
as,
car,
as an
toaster
incentive, to get you to bank with them. So I used to open up these albums first, and I could clearly recall opening up boxes. I remember opening up and listening to the Bridge Over Troubled Water album from Simon and Garfunkel. I knew right away. I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. I knew right away this is something
So
special.
there you go. You see, sometimes you know right away. Sometimes you hear a song one time and you're just like, this is special. Like, I know this is going to be huge. I know this is going to be a hit, I don't know. Like, and there are exceptions, because there is some Jewish music that is really special, and there are some truly talented musicians.
Sure,
but
let's talk about,
there's a lot of fluff.
Talk about Ishai Ribo.
Oh.
I mean, he is a sensation.
He
is a poet. He's a Hebrew poet.
Yeah.
His
But he
presentation.
could strum on his guitar and just hum a melody, and I'd be like, amazing. That's all he needs to do.
But
it's
you
like
know-
we said last time about writers writing the most simple line and making it sound so poetic, and you're like, how did they do that? because it's them, like that. It's a part of them. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot of music that is produced today that maybe shouldn't be.
Also in that box, by the way, with the Simon and Garfunkel album was, I remember, a Santana album. It was called Black Magic Woman. It was also something very special.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's amazing.
Carlos Santana. And then don't forget, I worked on the radio for 10 years, and I was playing Jewish music, and I interviewed people like Shlomo Carlebach, and many times. And I used to, one morning I had the whole Diaspora Yeshiva band down in the studio, which was
cool.
in New Jersey.
Yeah.
These guys were hippies that became from, that were influenced in the early years by, I guess, Arlo Guthrie, Bob Dylan, and others, and they formed a musical bridge and people criticized that because it was Jewish music.
That didn't sound like Jewish music.
It's particularly from the Torah, but it was they rocked all night.
They do that today too.
They do.
They cover non-Jewish songs and then put a pasuk in there, and they're like, oh, but it's ours. Remember Piamenta?
Yeah. Of course, Piamenta does that. Eighth Day is very, very good, very talented, very good, very good at doing that. I don't know who else does that today.
A lot of people do it, for sure. But in any case, I grew up in a house where I would say secular music was a little bit more common when I was a little kid. So that was the taste that I preferred. And then all of a sudden, we started becoming a little bit more right-wing and started listening to music in the car that I just simply could not listen to. So I would always have my CD man with me.
Okay.
And my iPod in the early days. And I would just listen to my own music because, for me, music is very important.
To me too.
I
consider myself a connoisseur of music, but I at the same time, I don't think it has to do with any kind of turn to the religious right or left.
I mean, I think there's a huge statement about that, for sure.
In terms of educating your children, and
there's plenty of secular music that is perfectly 100% okay for your kids to listen to.
Then when you're bringing up boys and girls in the yeshiva system in New York or probably anywhere in the world, there's an issue of kolisha. Which is problematic for a lot of young men. Right.
And there are women that also have albums that are blatantly singing Kolisha, and they're saying, please do not listen to this album. It is Kolisha. And guess what? People are still listening to it.
Well, people still smoke cigarettes, and it says cigarettes can kill you. But,
very true.
But they're still smoking them.
Very true. When I go to Gourmet Glatt, when I go to any grocery store, and I'm walking through the aisle shopping, and I see all the guys that work in the stores, they're replenishing the stock. And these guys are not Jewish guys, and they have this music playing all day long on the loudspeaker. I think to myself, you guys, I'm really sorry.
It's Jewish
on
music
behalf of all the frum people out there, I am sorry that you need to listen to this all day. This is terrible.
A lot of work goes into producing Jewish music today.
I know.
And, I think it's on some levels it's superb compared to the way it used to be.
Yeah,
but then again,
everybody's come very far for sure.
So what are you listening to in the car? Only recorded music, or you listen to XM?
I never listen
radio?
to XM. I listen to Apple Music only. I have Spotify and I have Apple, but I make my own playlists. What I do is I'll go to 80s, I'll go to different genres, and then I will add it to playlists, and then I'll make my playlist based on either time period or genre. It could be my new favorite now, which my boys love because they think I'm super cool, even though I'm 40 years old and I'm a mother of 5.
Yeah.
I love EDM, which is
what's EDM?
EDM is like,
is that like a cheese?
It's like
I know the cheese.
No, EDM is like electronic. Kind of
really, like what they call it, rave, what do they call it?
Rave, but it's not that though. It's different. It's like there's so many different subcategories of music today. But EDM is one of those things. But when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, I used to love much more chilled music like Sarah McLachlan and Jewel and Paula Cole and just like very chilled music. I think it depends on your moods.
Well, I listen to. I have also a playlist on my phone. very diverse, very intricate, and I have
Mhm.
it shuffled in there. So
Yeah.
I'm going on a long trip. I can listen to a lot of things that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I have I don't know. Of course, I have Ishai Ribo, and I have Avram Fried, and I have Benny Friedman,
Right.
and I have some Israeli artists. Oh, Shlomo Artzi, I have,
I don't know who
and
that is.
of course Ishai Ribo, and
Omar Adam.
Amar Adam, of course, and a number of others. And but I also like to listen to XM, the different, like you said, different genres. I like 60s on 6.
Right.
Because that's when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's
in the
before my time.
60s. And now they in my car they tell you what year. Like I was just
What
listening
was that
to
radio station that used to put on in the morning when you drive me to school? They don't have it anymore, but it was like the 70s, it was the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
I guess it was WCBS FM.
Maybe it was, and I didn't know any of the music.
So the thing about 60s on 6 is the Four Seasons, Jane the Americans. The thing is not just the song. The thing is that the interesting thing is that it says the year that song came out
Right.
on the screen,
Yeah.
on your dashboard or whatever it's called, and it says like the song was like 1964, and I know all the words to the song, which means I
Right.
was like 10 years old.
Right.
And I think to my grandchildren that are 10 years old, they don't know this. Do your kids know the words to all these songs?
They know the words to a lot of songs.
They do?
They do. They do.
What
Yeah.
what do they listen to? I know I have Nissan's.
Yeah.
I have Nissan's playlist on my phone because we share accounts.
What's on Nissan's playlist? I'm nervous to even know.
Well, I don't even know how to access it, but I can go over it. But it has some good stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm current when I'm in the car doing carpool and I have, Benji Clock saying, "What song is that?" I want to put it on my phone, and I'm like, "See, like I am officially cool."
Yeah. So if you like the same stuff as them, of course, music became a very broad spectrum. There's people we didn't mention Shulam Lemmer.
Oh, Shulam Lemmer.
He can be a Broadway. He can be a Broadway star.
His voice is like it's like an instrument. It is just so beautiful. It's beautiful.
But also the medium is the message. Here's a young 30-year-old approximately Hasidic guy with long payas, and he's singing Broadway show tunes for Atlantic Records. I think that's the company that signed him.
It's so crazy. It's amazing how like the lines have sort of blurred, and like there's just so much. I mean, back when Matisyahu started his career, you didn't know. You could listen to him and think to yourself, "That's a great contemporary artist," and then you wouldn't know that he had like a long beard and was, living in a certain way.
I saw him on one of these late night TV shows when he had a beard and a hat and a jacket on. When he was living in Crown Heights, and whoever the show was asking him about it, and he was singing reggae. I think that's his thing, right?
Yes.
Mostly reggae.
Yeah.
And he was explaining. He says that he's a Lubavitcher chassid at the time. He still might be, for all I know.
No.
And I remember him saying that. How do you know?
Because I do.
I remember him. How do you know? I remember him saying.
Go on his Instagram. You'll see.
I remember. Oh, okay. I remember him saying that. The Lubavitcher Rebbe always said that you take the things that are in the world. That are whatever they are, secular or non-Jewish, and you turn them over. You turn them upside down, and make them part of a message that could be a medium to communicate
that's pretty cool.
A Jewish idea.
Yeah.
What is he doing today, Matisyahu?
I don't know exactly what he's doing. Maybe he's still singing, but he's certainly not donning a hat and a jacket. That's for sure.
Well, he has kids somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
he does. He has kids.
Are they in Crown Heights?
I don't know if they're in Crown Heights, but
well, maybe if he sees this, he listens to this podcast.
Call us, Matisyahu.
Maybe he'll call us, or he could write you, wherever you could be reached on multiple platforms. So what else is what else do you want to discuss in the realm of music?
I don't know. I just feel like there are certain songs that like you could listen to and remember them at the point of your life that you listen to it first. You ever have that?
Absolutely.
Isn't that the craziest thing?
There are songs that I hear that I can recall when I heard them or when I used to play them, and exactly where I was parked.
Yes.
What kind of car I was driving at the time.
That's
it's a brain thing.
It's crazy.
That's a brain thing. And some people, I don't know, is everybody like that?
I don't know. I wonder. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just us.
No, but like I said, I liked seeing the year of that the song was produced, and I just marvel at the idea of how young I was and how I remember it. But then again, you have to also keep in mind that I have a brother that's 7 years older than me. So when I was
Who's
12,
a
he was
crazy
19.
music.
You know,
He loves music.
my father hated the idea that he was listening to rock and roll music.
Really?
To WABC.
What did your father listen to?
I don't know if he listened to anything. I think he listened to Chazanis.
Oh.
I don't know.
No.
I really don't know.
Right.
But I remember him. Remember when that song came out, "In the Jungle," the Mighty Jungle.
Sure.
So my father, he listened to those words, and of course my brother used to play the radio loud in the morning in the house, in his room or in the house. And my father coined the term in the house, jungle music. He called it jungle music. He would say, "Again, jungle music." everything was jungle music to
Right.
him. So I don't think he liked it. Listen, he's a young man. He came from a family steeped in Hasidic thought, and he grew up here. He came to this country in the early 1930s, and he was a young man. He got married, started having children, and he wasn't prepared for rock and roll.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like your parents.
Exactly. My parents are super hip.
No, we like a lot of music.
Yeah.
I just got a new sound system in the house.
Yeah,
with,
I saw that. You have speakers in your
with
ceiling.
Speakers in the ceiling. I don't know how to work it yet.
Eventually.
I don't know.
Baby
I-
steps.
I may never know how to work it. No one's going to show me. I have to call the guy that
You can have
installed
Naki
it.
show you.
No, he's not going to show me.
No?
No, but it's very It's a very complicated system. It's surround sound. You
Right.
know?
Right.
And like if you're watching a movie and there's like a bombing, if it's a war movie, or it's on the beach and there's
Yeah.
ocean waves,
Yeah.
the
You
ocean
hear it.
waves, the ocean waves and the plane noise is so loud you can't hear the dialogue.
Wow.
So I don't know. We have to figure out how to balance that somehow. I mean, there's some great music. There's like. It's show tunes like Fiddler on the Roof is a staple in every home, isn't
Yeah,
it?
for sure.
Through the generations,
Right.
through the decades,
Right.
through the years. If I Was a Rich Man, Fiddler on the Roof.
Right. We don't generally listen to that, but
No?
no, definitely
Well, if
not.
Broadway ever opens again,
Yeah.
there's some great music
I
that
mean,
comes out of Broadway.
for sure. Hamilton, Wicked. There's some great ones.
I don't really know those.
They're great.
I only
Great
know those
soundtracks,
songs.
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know those songs, but
Mm-hmm.
there's some good stuff. Les Miserables.
Les Miserables, great.
That's fantastic. I was listening to that. I think
Rent.
Lemmer, I think Lemmer does
Excellent.
a Les Miserables song, right?
Mhm.
So he's really good.
Yeah.
But that's basically the role music plays in our lives and continues to play in our lives. Then, of course, in Jewish life, there's this idea that there's 10 weeks a year you're not supposed to listen to music.
Yes.
Like
But that's when we have a cappella music.
7 weeks of Sphira and then
Yep.
3 weeks in the summer. So you're talking about 20% of the year
Yeah.
you're not supposed to listen to music.
Yeah. But then there's that genre that they basically.
That's very limited, a cappella music, I think.
You should go onto Apple Music and put in a cappella.
Oh, really? There's good a cappella
Pentatonics.
stuff?
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
I'm talking about Jewish music.
I mean, yeah, of course, Jewish music too.
Then you have artists like Elie Schwebel, whose voice alone is like a musical instrument.
It's like silk.
And
It's beautiful.
there are artists like him,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are people that say that you're allowed to listen to music during that period, but slow music,
Oh, interesting. I
just
never
not
heard that.
fast music.
Okay.
And then others that say that you're really not allowed to view live performances, but music on the radio is okay.
Not live.
So I mean, there's a different.
It's always nice loopholes.
No, they're not loopholes as much as they're like I don't know what to call it, what do you call it? Like a fence.
Okay.
It's like a
Boundary?
a siyug, a boundary.
Got it.
A boundary. Of course, if you're going to listen to music on the radio in Sphira, then you're going to end up at a concert probably.
Right.
Like this, if you don't listen to live music on the radio, it reduces the chances that you're going to
Concerts,
end up
though.
end up at a concert. Can you imagine? It hasn't been a concert in 8 months.
Oy.
Talk about destroying
I
industries
know.
with this pandemic, which hopefully, once they stop fighting on the political level, will hopefully be able to get life moving again in a good and productive and, most importantly, a normal
Yeah,
way.
it's true.
All right, last thoughts on the idea of music before we put a wrap on this episode of father-daughter.
Last thoughts?
Right. I mean, music that you. Well, listen. There's music. There's wedding music. You like wedding music?
Like what music that
I don't
you'd listen
know.
to at a wedding?
If at a Jewish wedding, at a frum wedding, of course you have the traditional chuppah music and so on and so forth. But there's a point where you're allowed to have secular music, I guess, while you're eating dinner. And maybe it facilitates better digestion to hear like a
Definitely.
like a show tune being played by the
Definitely.
band instead of the ay stuff.
Oh, the I stuff. Not a fan.
I hear you. I think I know where you're coming from. Although, listen, I mean, there are great Hasidic nigunim
It's true.
that don't require any music. When you're in a crowd with 3,000 or 5,000 people and they're singing, there's nothing like it.
Nothing like
Like
it.
in the old days.
So powerful.
In the old days in Chabad in 770 when the Rebbe was alive, and the BFR bringing with 4,000 people in a room that the capacity is probably 750. And we're in there, stuffed together. And the frenzy, you get worked up into a melodic frenzy to sing. And you watch the Rebbe react to the singing. And it's a very high and very gratifying and satisfying experience.
Spiritual.
Anyway, next time we're going to discuss a few other things.
Great.
Which we're not going to talk about because we don't know what they are yet.
Nope, not yet.
And in the meantime, we're going to thank you for listening in to this episode of Father-Daughter. That's Malky Gordon Hirsch. I'm Larry Gordon. Have a good day, everyone.